checkpoint 7. Again, I have the Unit 2 review theorem up so that I can model how I would use it. And I have it up with my checkpoints. So we are going to just start with question 1. Which statement is correctly written as a conditional statement? So if I couldn't remember what a conditional statement was, I would look back at lesson 7 and notice conditional statements. If-then statements. It is a hypothesis and a conclusion. Okay, so I'm looking for if-then statements. If a shape has 4 sides, then it is a quadrilateral. Any 4-sided shape is a quadrilateral. A shape has 4 sides or it is a quadrilateral. A shape has 4 sides when it is a quadrilateral. Okay, because it's saying a conditional statement, conditional statements are if-then. So they need to start with if and they need to include then. So this is our option. Question 2, use the triangles to answer the question. So I have triangle ABC, and I'm not sure why that is. Triangle ABC and then triangle DEF. If triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF, what is the length of DE? Enter your answer as the correct value. Okay, we need to match up corresponding sides in order to answer this. So AB, side length A to B is going to match D to E. So D to E is going to be corresponding sides. And then B to C is going to match E to F. So BC is going to correspond to EF. And then that leaves us with AC corresponding to DF. So now we have EF is 3.78, BC is 3.78, DF is 2.3, AC is 2.3, and BA is 3.2, and ED is blank. So since they are corresponding sides, that means DE would be 3.2. Enter your answer as the correct value. So we would type in 3.2. And we're going to skip question 3, move on to question 4. Which statement is correctly written as a biconditional statement? So before I move on to looking at the answers, I want to first know what is a biconditional statement. So if I look over here at lesson 7, I'm looking for biconditional statements in the left-hand column, and it's located right there. So biconditional statements, let me make this on one page. Okay, so biconditional statements, they are if and only if statements. It means conditional and its converse statement is true. So I'm looking for if and only if. So the equation x plus 3 equals 9 is true if and only if x equals 6. Okay, well there's one option because it has if and only if. The equation x plus 3 equals 9 is true when x equals 6. No, because it doesn't have if and only if. The equation x plus 3 equals 9 is true or x equals 6. No, it doesn't have if and only if. And if the equation x plus 3 is equal to 9 is true, then x equals 6. Okay, that is a conditional statement, but it's not biconditional because it doesn't say if and only if. So there's our correct selection would be if and only if x equals 6. Alright, use the triangles to answer the question. So I'm looking at these triangles and I'm noticing that we have 74 degrees, 65 degrees, 41 degrees. We have 41 degrees, 74 degrees, and 65 degrees. So are the triangles shown congruent? No, the triangles are not congruent. There is not enough information to determine congruence, or yes, the triangles are congruent. Right now, I see that the angles are the exact same. So we have the same triangle, we have triangles with the same angles. And in order to determine if they're congruent, they have to have the same side lengths. So because we have the same angles but not the side lengths, I would say no, they're not congruent based on the missing side length labels. All right, we're going to jump to question 8. Use the triangles to answer the question. If triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF, what is the measure of angle B? Enter your answer as the correct value. Do not enter the degree symbol. Okay, so we need to find corresponding angles. So they list out the vertices in order of correspondence. So vertex A corresponds to vertex D. So A corresponds to D. Vertex B corresponds to vertex E. So vertex B corresponds to vertex E. And vertex C corresponds to vertex F. So vertex C is going to correspond to vertex F. So now we are looking for the measure of angle B. Well, if vertex B, this angle then is formed at vertex B. So angle B corresponds to angle E. That means they have to have the same measure, especially since triangles are congruent. So angle E is 30.03 degrees. That means angle B has to be 30.03 degrees. And it says do not enter the degree symbol. So I won't enter the degree symbol. Okay. Question 9. Use triangles to answer the questions. And then the question is, which two triangles are congruent? Be sure to select two answers. Okay, so congruence. Again, if I scan in the left column, I see congruent, having the same size and shape. So then it says polygons are congruent if and only if they have the same shape and size. So we want to look for these two triangles that have the same side lengths and the same angles. And I'm noticing right here AC is 4.5. So I'm looking for a 4.5 in triangle FED. And there's not a 4.5 side length, so that one's off. And if I look at the next one, triangle GJH, I notice there's a side length that's 4.5 right there. So we're matching. Now let's see if they have the other two sides that are the same. So we have CB is 4, JH is 4, and AB is 3, AGH is 3. Okay, so far our side lengths match. Now we need to make sure that our angles match. So at vertex, angle A is 60 degrees. That means angle G needs to be 60 degrees, which it is. Angle C is 40.5 degrees. It corresponds to angle J, which is 40.5 degrees. Angle B is 79.5 degrees and angle H is 79.5 degrees. So triangle GJH, GHJ is congruent to triangle ABC. And if you notice, they did list out the vertexes that correspond to each other. A corresponds to G, B corresponds to H, and J corresponds with C. Okay. Now I'm going to share with you your helpful stress reminder, because as a teacher we're not only supposed to provide you with information about math, it's also helping you to have techniques to help you deal with stress or pressure. So this one is called the Cook's Hookup, and this one helps you focus your mind and brings out your best performance. So if you're feeling before a test really stressed and like, oh, I'm not sure about this, this would be a great one to do, and it's really simple. You take your two hands and you cross them. So I'm bringing my left hand palm to match my right hand palm. Link your fingers and then pull them up towards your chest. And then you just sit here and breathe. And you think about how you want to perform on the test or on the assignment or what the outcome you would like. So you're going to breathe a couple times and say, all right, I would love at least an 80%. So you're going to think about that as you're breathing. I want to be able to think as clearly and remember as well as I can. And then once you're done breathing and thinking about your positive thoughts and how this test is going to be awesome and you're going to remember it well, you're going to uncross your hands and begin whatever you're trying to do. And again, that's called the Cook's Hookup, and it helps you focus your mind and it brings out your best performance.